All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Valsa Williams and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates India's commitment towards its vision of participatory developmental works in the Indian Ocean. Health Ministry says COVID recoveries are nearly double the number of active cases in the country. Jharkhand and Andaman and Nicobar Islands extend lockdown till 31st August. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu says new National Education Policy 2020 a major step towards quality education to all children and youth. Jammu and Kashmir government orders fast-tracking of environment clearance process in minor mineral mining operations. The Prime Minister has hailed India's special friendship bond with Mauritius and termed it as one which is based on deep-rooted cultural linkages. He said India never commits to any relationship considering the financial implications or profitability. The Prime Minister was speaking after jointly inaugurating the new Supreme Court building of Mauritius with his Mauritian counterpart Pravind Jugnauth yesterday. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Modi reiterated India's commitment to the Vision Sagar, which was enunciated by him in 2015. Sagar, which stands for Security and Growth for All in the region, is India's high-level articulation towards its vision of participatory developmental works in the Indian Ocean.
It was in Mauritius that I had first spoken about India's vision of Sagar, security and growth for all in the region. This is because Mauritius is at the heart of India's approach to the Indian Ocean region. And today, I want to add that Mauritius is also at the heart of India's approach to development partnerships.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the government and people of Mauritius for effective management of containment of the global pandemic in the island country.
I congratulate the government and people of Mauritius for effective management of the COVID-19 global pandemic. I am happy that India was able to support this effort through timely supplies of medicines and sharing of experience.
Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravind Jugnauth, speaking after the inauguration of the newly constructed Supreme Court building, said India has always been helpful in developmental goals of Mauritius. Mr. Jugnauth thanked India for the support towards completion of major developmental projects in the country. The Supreme Court building has been constructed with Indian grant assistance of $30 million and has been constructed under the India Assisted Infrastructure Project in the capital city of Port Louis after the outbreak of coronavirus.
External Affairs Ministry has said the new Supreme Court building in Mauritius is another landmark project completed under India's development partnership. Briefing media last evening, Ministry spokesperson said this is an example of India's ability to implement such projects in various parts of the world. He said the project has been completed on schedule and at a cost below the initial estimates. India is making development partnerships that are marked by respect for partners, diversity, care for the future and sustainable development.
The Health Ministry has said that COVID-19 recoveries have crossed the 1 million mark in the country. Briefing media in New Delhi yesterday, officer on special duty in the Health Ministry said recovery rate among COVID-19 patients increased from 7.85% in April to 64.44% at present. He said the recoveries are 1.9 times the number of active cases of COVID-19. The Health Ministry official said effective clinical management led to decline in COVID-19 case fatality rate from 3.33% on the 18th of June to 2.21% yesterday. He said due to enhanced testing infrastructure, on an average 468,263 COVID-19 tests were conducted daily from the 26th to the 30th of July.
India has achieved another landmark with more than 6 lakh tests done in 24 hours. Health Ministry said it is continuing to implement the strategy of comprehensive testing, tracking and treatment to effectively tackle the COVID-19 pandemic. It said the objective is to raise the testing capacity to 10 lakhs tests per day in the medium term.
In Jharkhand, Chief Minister Hemant Soren has announced to extend the existing lockdown in the entire state till the 31st of August in the wake of the increasing number of COVID-19 cases detected in the state. No gymnasiums, cinema halls, movie theatres or multiplexes will open in Jharkhand during this period. The orders will come into effect from August the 1st, and movement except for essential services shall remain prohibited from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, prevailing the existing guidelines of night curfew. Interstate and intrastate bus services will also not be operational during this period, while people coming from outside Jharkhand have to remain in 14 days essential quarantine period. The Andaman and Nicobar administration has extended the lockdown in containment zones till the 31st of August, while certain activities are still prohibited outside the containment zones in line of the Unlock 3 directives. The schools, colleges and coaching institutions will remain closed. Likewise, cinema halls, bars, auditoriums, assembly halls, yoga centres and gyms will not operate. Any kind of social, political, cultural and religious gathering is not allowed. The Bihar government has extended the lockdown in urban areas till the 16th of next month in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. According to the guidelines issued by the State Home Ministry, there will be additional restrictions in state headquarters, district headquarters, subdivisional headquarters, block headquarters and all municipal areas in the state from August the 1st to the 16th. During this period, the government offices will work with 50% strength. Commercial and private offices will also be opened with 50% capacity. Rail and air services will remain functional. All educational institutions and religious places will remain closed. Shopping and cinema hall will not open. Meanwhile, the number of positive cases of coronavirus infection patients have mounted to over 48,000 with reporting of 2,082 new cases. 31,673 patients have recovered so far and 16,041 patients are undergoing treatment in various hospitals. Recovery rate is 66%. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has instructed Bihar government to increase further testing capacity till decreasing of positive cases. In Delhi, the recovery rate of COVID-19 patients further improved to 89.07%. It continues to be the state with the highest recovery percentage in the country. The city recorded recovery of 1,091 patients in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered patients till yesterday to 1,19,724. A total of 1,093 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital during the last 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID cases in the city has reached 1,34,403. The Delhi government confirmed that 29 deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, taking the total to 3,936. The national capital is also witnessing a decrease in the number of active corona cases gradually.
In Rajasthan, the state government has developed the facilities to test 45,000 samples of COVID per day. The mortality rate has remained less than 1% in the month of July in the state. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has instructed to start plasma therapy for the treatment of COVID patients in all medical colleges in the state. A report from our correspondent.
After Jaipur, Jodhpur, Kota and Udaipur, now the treatment of corona patients has started with plasma therapy in Bikaner. The government is making efforts to start the use of plasma therapy to treat COVID patients in remaining medical colleges of the state. The health department has identified 6 medical colleges of the treatment of serious patients of the COVID-19. 4 to 6 districts have been attached to each medical college where all kind of treatment facilities available for corona patients. Government has decided to reopen all religious places from September 1st in the state. The decision was taken in a high-level meeting chaired by Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot last night. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Andhra Pradesh recorded 10,167 more COVID-19 cases, which is the highest single-day tally when tested 70,068 samples during the last 24 hours. According to the state COVID nodal officer, 4,618 persons were recovered and discharged from hospitals in the last 24 hours. The state's death toll rose to 1,281.
In Karnataka, the COVID-19 positive cases spiking every day with 6,128 new cases reported in the state yesterday, taking the tally to 1,18,632. 83 COVID deaths were reported across the state yesterday, and the total deaths increased to 2,230. More from our correspondent.
The state has been making efforts to increase the antigen and RT-PCR test every day. Meanwhile, the Karnataka Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar said that strict action will be initiated against the private hospitals which do not cooperate with the government to fight against the COVID-19. The minister held a video conference with the senior officials in Bengaluru yesterday and reviewed the COVID preparedness in the city. The minister said that booth-level task force committees should be finalized within 2 to 3 days. The government is also planning to utilize the final year science students and MBBS students for testing tasks to fulfill the manpower requirements. The students who involved in the COVID duties will be accorded grace marks in internals. R. Murthy, AR News, Bengaluru.
In Manipur, 47 persons were found COVID-19 positive, while 19 persons were discharged from hospitals after recovery in the last 24 hours. Among the new cases, 15 persons do not have travel history and are suspected to be local transmission cases. Remaining are returnees from other states. All necessary medical precautionary measures like containment and contact tracing are in place. In Meghalaya, 19 fresh cases of COVID-19 were detected yesterday, taking the total number of cases to 588. Director of Health Services, Dr. Aman Bar, said contact tracing process is completed almost, except some areas. He also informed that rapid antigen tests are being carried out in vulnerable areas.
The Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation has said that Ganesh mandals located in COVID-19 containment zones in the city will conduct idol immersions inside their own pandals. The BMC guideline issued yesterday for the upcoming mega festival stated that the same rule will apply for idols installed by individual devotees if their homes lie in containment zones. The number of containment zones in Mumbai currently stands at 622. A report from our Mumbai correspondent.
Like the other festivals this year, the much-awaited 10-day-long Ganpati festival in Maharashtra is also overshadowed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The state government and civic authorities have already capped the height of idols at 4 feet for Ganesh mandals and 2 feet for domestic Ganpati. This year, the BMC has asked Ganesh mandals and households to mainly opt for eco-friendly immersion and strictly avoid large gathering and going to cities seashore for the same. It has stated that strict action will be taken against violators. The civic body also appealed to Ganesh mandals to conduct health camps instead of cultural programs and create awareness about health issues through advertisement. Nivedita, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Gujarat, the total number of COVID-19 cases has crossed 60,000 mark yesterday, with a total of 1,159 cases reported in the last 24 hours. This is yet another higher single-day spike. At present, the state's recovery rate is 73.11%. More from our correspondent.
There are 13,793 active patients of COVID-19 in the state, out of which 84 are on ventilator. Surat recorded the highest 271 new cases yesterday. The recent numbers show that the COVID-19 pandemic is reaching interiors in small towns and rural parts of the district in the state. Considering the large number of COVID-19 patients from other districts being reported to Ahmedabad for treatment, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has declared another 15 private hospitals as designated COVID hospitals. This will create an additional bed capacity of 500. Aparna Khund, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Jammu and Kashmir yesterday recorded 450 fresh cases of COVID-19 pandemic, taking the total number of positive cases to 19,869. AIR Jammu correspondent reports that 13 more deaths are reported due to COVID-19, 1 from Jammu and 12 from Kashmir division, thus taking the number of casualties to 365, including 339 from Kashmir and 26 from Jammu division. The World Health Organization has warned that spikes in coronavirus transmission in a number of countries were being driven by young people letting down their guard. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said, although older people are at a higher risk of severe disease, younger people are at risk too.
Young people are not invincible. Young people can be infected. Young people can die. And young people can transmit the virus to others. That's why young people must take the same precautions to protect themselves and protect others.
Meanwhile, more than 17 million people around the world have been infected with the new coronavirus and more than 669,000 have died. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, some 9.9 million patients have recovered so far from the pandemic.
Phase 5 of the Vande Bharat mission is scheduled to start from the 1st of August. A total of 792 flights, which include 692 international flights and 100 domestic flights, have been scheduled under this phase to repatriate Indians from 23 countries. These include GCC countries, the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, France, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, China, Israel and Kyrgyzstan. Briefing media last evening, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastav said these flights would cater to 21 different airports in India and repatriate a total of 130,000 Indians stranded abroad.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates India's commitment towards its vision of participatory developmental works in the Indian Ocean. Health Ministry says COVID recoveries are nearly double the number of active cases in the country. Jharkhand and Andaman Nicobar Islands extend lockdown till 31st August. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu says new National Education Policy 2020, a major step towards quality education to all children and youth. And Jammu and Kashmir government orders fast tracking of environment clearance process in minor mineral mining operations. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that the new national education policy is a major step forward to enhance access to quality education to all the children and youth. In a series of tweets, Mr. Naidu expressed happiness that the policy emphasizes on mother tongue and multilingualism, for diversity and respect for local context, as well as a recognition of the importance of India's classical languages. It will give learners a holistic worldview. Mr. Naidu said the focus of education policy on ethics and human and constitutional values will go a long way in creation of a new, enlightened citizenship essential for deepening our democratic roots. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has expressed grief on the demise of Padma Shri Sonam Shershing Lepcha. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, a renowned personality in folk music and Lepcha culture, Sonam Shershing Lepcha will be missed by all. He expressed condolences to the bereaved family and friends.
Now moving on to our special series on development and empowerment of people in the Union Territory of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the government has taken several proactive measures to strengthen the grassroots level delivery system across towns and villages of Jammu and Kashmir. One of the significant programs that needs a special mention is the Back to Village program that was launched in June last year in a first of its kind in Jammu and Kashmir. AIR Jammu talked to Secretary Rural Development Department J&K, Srimati Sheetal Nanda, about the success of Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Back to Village concept.
इतना सक्सेसफुल रहा हमारा प्रोग्राम कि आप इमेजिन करें कि ऑफिसर्स जो 2 दिन और 1 रात का फरमान लेके गए थे वो वहाँ पे उससे ज्यादा भी रुके, लोगों के साथ इन्वॉल्व हो गए, काम देखे, कोशिश की और वापस आके भी उन सब ऑफिसर्स ने कोशिश की कि जहाँ तक हो सके वो जो पंचायत उनको मिली है उसको उन्होंने एक तरह से अडॉप्ट कर लिया, जहाँ तक हो सका वहाँ की डिमांड्स को गवर्नमेंट की नोटिस में लाया. फ्रॉम व्हाट आई नो मोर देन 20,000 वर्क जो है वो लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई किए करने के लिए ड्यूरिंग दिस प्रोग्राम. ये उस तरह से बहुत एक सक्सेसफुल रहा.
We have more from our Srinagar correspondent.
As part of the Back to Village program in Jammu and Kashmir, one gazetted officer visited and stayed in a particular panchayat for 2 days and 1 night. The gazetted officer subsequently obtained the feedback from the grassroots levels to help the government efforts in improving the delivery of village-specific services. The program was aimed to energize every panchayat of Jammu and Kashmir for the developmental efforts in rural areas through the community participation. Consequently, about 2 lakh developmental projects have already been identified by the local communities under the Back to Village program. Moreover, panchayats were also empowered with the allocation of additional funds meant for the overall development of the rural areas in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This is Sunil Kohl for AR News from Srinagar.
Vice Chairman of Khadi Village and Industries Board KVIB, Hina Shafi Bhatt, reviewed the status of Spurti clusters. During the meeting, it was informed that 2 Spurti clusters with a project outlay of 8.95 crore rupees are ready for commissioning and shall be functional by next month, while the rest of the clusters are at various stages of establishment. The Vice Chairperson said this will ensure that associated artisans get the benefits by earning more for their livelihood. Scheme for Fund of Generation of Traditional Industries, Spurti, is an initiative by Ministry of MSME to promote cluster development. Jammu and Kashmir government has established 12 Amrit pharmacies across the Union Territory to reduce out-of-pocket expenditure for consumers. The Jammu and Kashmir government has ordered fast-tracking of environment clearance process in minor mineral mining operations across the Union Territory. The order has been issued by Industries and Commerce Department. The order said the new allottees shall commence mining operation only after the completion of due procedure. It added it shall be lawful for the new lessee to continue mining operations on the same land for a period of 2 years.
The government of Jammu and Kashmir has decided to launch Jammu and Kashmir Health Scheme in convergence with Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana ABPMJAY. It will extend the coverage similar to ABPMJAY to all residents of Jammu and Kashmir, including employees, pensioners of the government of Jammu and Kashmir and their families. A report.
Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana has entered the lives of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as a glimmer of promise, leading to provision of much required financial protection against health expenditure. While the efforts of State Health Agency, Jammu and Kashmir have been appreciated widely and hailed as one of the better implementation models under ABPMJAY, it can be said with certainty that the team will strive for the successful implementation of Jammu and Kashmir Health Scheme in convergence with ABPMJAY with greater zeal and commitment. Notwithstanding the difficult topography, the harsh climatic conditions in winter months and other issues in the Kashmir Valley, the commitment shown by the administration coupled with the keen interest of the beneficiaries of the erstwhile state propelled Jammu and Kashmir's success in implementation of the scheme with more than 10 lakh e-cards issued within the first 90 days of the launch of the scheme. Jammu and Kashmir issued e-cards covering 57% of target families in less than 6 months of the launch, which set a precedent for e-card generation to be carried out in mission mode in many other states. 231 hospitals, including 34 private, got empaneled under the scheme across both the Union Territories. R.K. Raina, AR News, Jammu.
The Bhumi Pujan for the construction of Ram Temple in Ayodhya is scheduled on 5th August. Many dignitaries, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will take part in the ceremony. Due to the corona pandemic, the ceremony will be a brief affair. A report from our correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will first do darshan at Ram Janmabhoomi and Hanuman Garhi Temple of Ayodhya, and after planting a sapling, he will take part in Bhumi Pujan ceremony. Principal Secretary Tourism and Culture of the state, Jitendra Kumar, told AIR that PM will release 2 postage stamps on this occasion.
राम जन्मभूमि मंदिर के मॉडल पर आधारित एक स्टैंप टिकट और एक रामायण के विश्व का एक स्टैंप टिकट, 2 स्टैंप टिकट का पोस्टल डिपार्टमेंट के द्वारा अनावरण करेंगे.
A special souvenir will be given to Prime Minister from Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath.
मुख्यमंत्री जी की ओर से एक विशेष भेंट दिया जाएगा और संभवतः इसमें भगवान राम की कोदंड प्रतिमा है लकड़ी की, जो कि एक सिंगल लकड़ी में बनाई गई है. वह कार्यक्रम के अंत में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को दिया जाएगा.
Although there will be decoration and lighting at every nook and corner of Ayodhya, but there will be no large-scale Deepotsav function because of COVID pandemic, and people will lit the earthen lamps at their own places. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In a unique step towards energy conservation, the Indian Railways has recently installed automatic lighting systems at 3 railway stations in Madhya Pradesh. Officials informed that the railways plan to scale up the project to cover more stations on its network. More from our correspondent.
Railways has installed these automatic lighting systems at Jabalpur, Narsinghpur and Bhopal railway stations of Madhya Pradesh, which fall under the West Central Railway Zone. Chief Public Relations Officer of West Central Railway, Priyanka Dikshit, informed that the automatic lighting systems at railway stations is controlling the lighting of these stations in tandem with the arrival and departure of trains.
पश्चिम मध्य रेल के अंतर्गत आने वाले जो तीनों मंडल हैं, जबलपुर, भोपाल, कोटा, तीनों जगह पे हमने कुछ स्टेशंस में इस एक प्रयोग को लागू किया है। ये एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन और एनवायरनमेंट पे जो इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है उसको बचाने के लिए एक अच्छा स्टेप।
Due to this, more than 100 units of electricity are being saved daily at big stations like Bhopal and Jabalpur, which will lead to money saving. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Bihar, the flood situation has worsened following incessant rains in the catchment areas of Gandak, Bagmati, Kamla Balan and their tributaries. Surging waters engulfing fresh areas of flood-affected districts. With two more districts of Siwan and Madhubani, now 14 districts have come under the impact of floods.
Now let us take a look at today's weather update. National capital Delhi may experience a thunderstorm with rain. Minimum temperature was recorded at 25 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 31 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The city witnessed a minimum temperature of 25 degrees and will have a maximum of around 31 degrees. In Chennai, the temperature will hover between 26 and 35 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy sky in the morning hours, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening with possibility of rain or thunder showers, accompanied by squall or hail expected in the city. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. The city recorded a minimum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum temperature will be nearly 34 degrees. In Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 24 degrees in Jammu, while maximum will be around 33. The city is likely to witness generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 18 and 31 degrees Celsius. The city is expected to witness partly cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. Leh Ladakh will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 15 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, minimum temperature was recorded at 17 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 34 degrees. It is also expected to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Muzaffarabad may have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The place witnessed a minimum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, while maximum temperature will be around 31 degrees. Generally cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers expected in Itanagar. Minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 34 degrees. Guwahati is also expected to have generally cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature in the city was 25 degrees, maximum expected around 34.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. We help partners without preconditions, the Hindustan Times quotes PM Modi's message to China in a tacit reference to the debt trap created by its big-ticket projects, saying India's cooperation is not guided by vested interests. Disengagement along LAC still incomplete. India rebuts China is a lead in the Asian age. Herd community not an option in India, the statement cites the Health Ministry. Vaccine only option. The Hindustan Times notes the government's observation. The paper also reports Delhi's containment zones can be denotified in 2 weeks, down from 28 days. The Times of India leads with Delhi slashes VAT, makes diesel cheaper by 8 rupees to boost trade. Gold amnesty scheme likely soon, the Business Standard reports, on a probable step by the Finance Ministry to crack down on tax evasion and cut its dependence on imports. How COVID is turning Eid and Rakhi virtual. Mail Today observes people in the capital curtail shopping, plan Zoom get-togethers as virus fears alters the way we celebrate festivals. And finally, Guinness bestows fastest human computation on Shakuntala Devi of 28 seconds, 4 decades after she achieved the feat, writes the Pioneer.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates India's commitment towards its vision of participatory developmental works in the Indian Ocean. Health Ministry says COVID recoveries are nearly double the number of active cases in the country. Jharkhand and Andaman and Nicobar Islands extend lockdown till 31st August. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu says New Education Policy 2020 a major step towards quality education to all children and youth. Jammu and Kashmir government orders fast-tracking of environment clearance process in minor mineral mining operations. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.